So in this video, I wanted to take a quick look at a cool vintage pen and pencil set from Ohto. This is called the Gripper, and it's a pretty desirable, I would say, vintage set because it uses a double knock mechanism. So basically it has this extra long throw. You push it down once to extend the tip, and then you knock it to put the lead out, to extend the lead, I guess. To retract everything, you just push down there. So it's a pretty cool mechanism, and the double knock system has definitely gotten popular with collectors, or been popular with collectors. I'm not sure the history there. So this is a set from the late 80s or possibly the early 90s. It's a little bit hard to tell. This is from Ohto in Japan. I've seen other companies sell this exact style, so I'm not sure if Ohto is the original maker or if they branded someone else's. It's hard to tell, but if you search for vintage double knock pencils or pens, but you will find these from different brands, and they will generally sell for less. You gotta search around. They're not super easy to find. So let's get into the gripper a little bit. This is the pen. This is the pencil. The pencil is definitely the more desirable because that has the double knock mechanism. Basics of this are plastic body. I really love this blue. It's held up really well over time, given that it's like 30 plus years old. So really cool blue, but it is plastic. Metal clip. It says push in case you didn't know how to retract the tip. Metal top piece, super long throw. Just like look at your typical button on the top of a pen or pencil, and this one is 3/4 of an inch. These are 1/2 inch, so 3/4 of an inch, which is like fairly long. Up front we have a really nice rubber grip. I would call this, I guess, a sneaker style grip. Even though it's really old, it's really grippy and has held up quite well. Here we have a smoked plastic, which is a nice thing to see, but the pen and pencil are both almost entirely plastic, which is why I think it's not as desirable as a collector's item as it could be. Anyway, you push this out, that will extend the tip. That's all metal there, locks, and keeps going there. Nice action. It's a 0.5 millimeter. That's the only size I've seen it in, but it might have been sold in others. It's hard to say. This one is notably missing the pricing sticker that would have been here, and if you were like a hardcore collector, that's something you really like to see. But I have found it online, and it is 500 JPY. Again, here's the push. You gotta push straight down. And you can see the sort of mechanism in here. Pops out, push. And it has that little clip here. So I believe if you were to put this in your pocket, it would push down that little area and it would go down, because just by extending the clip, it will not push the tip back, which is kind of a diversion from how you normally see these. Usually if you were to lift this, it would push the tip back, and that's how it works on like a Graph Gear 1000 from Pentel, which makes sense, right? You put it in your pocket, you don't want the tip riding all over inside of your shirt. But this is reverse. It has to push this down, so they have that little sloping piece there. Taking the tip off, we could see plastic in here. I'm sure this was white at the time. It's clearly yellowed from age. This one has, I don't believe this eraser has ever been used. This is like a new old stock type pencil. And if I'm writing with this one, I just will use a different eraser. If you pull this out, you can see it does have a cleaning piece, like a jam cleaner. So that's very cool to see. Much more popular with the vintage pencils than pencils of today. And then the piece up front does come off, and you can see mostly metal hardware. If you were to remove this, you would see a metal clutch. It's just kind of hard to get off there. It's got this really big spring, and that's what's providing all that throw. This is like a big, probably expensive spring, which is why you don't see pencils like this too much anymore. Definitely not with a full plastic body. Like if you were gonna do all this mechanism, you would have a higher end pencil like that. Again, the Graph Gear 1000 is a really good comparison. Moving over to the pen. One of the annoying things about the two is they're identical. You cannot tell which is which. So if you have both of them together, no big deal. But if you were just grabbing one on the run, there's no good way to tell the pen from the pencil. So I just find that to be a little bit troublesome. Anyway, here is the pen. It doesn't have a double knock, right? You don't need to knock a pen a second time, but so you can't push this anymore. But everything else is fundamentally the same. All plastic body. Push this. You can't push this anymore. To return it, you have to push the clip down. Metal clip. Ohto branding. All the stuff we'd expect to see. That really great grip. This is really what the pen and pencil, I guess, are all about for me. This nice sneaker grip. And then this one uses a D1 refill. So a little short refill. It's actually a little bit of a pain to get at. So I'll keep it in there. But I have, let's see if I can, no. It's a little bit pain to get. So you do have to kind of take some pieces apart and pull it out. It's not like a huge deal. And then it has just a sleeve in here that holds it tight. I'm a little bit wary of wearing those pieces out, so I don't try not to remove it too often, just keeping in mind that the plastic inside is, again, like 30-ish years old, so I'm sure it's quite brittle at this point. And while these are in great shape, I don't fully trust it. On this one, the button doesn't really come off. I'm sure I could rip it off, but I would probably break it. So, gotta keep that in mind. There's a little separator here, which I've always tried to figure out. I don't quite know what that is. Probably just to keep this metal piece from touching this button here. It's just like a kind of a funny design to me. Could have just extended this piece of plastic. I don't really know, but it does do its job. So this is the Ohto gripper, and I have a new D1 refill in here, so it works really great. It takes any Japanese metal body D1. If you use a European D1, it'll be a little thicker, like 2.3 millimeter instead of 2.1 or 2.0. So it's not a universal fit, even though D1 is a standard, so you have to be a little bit careful there. As for the pencil, this just has 0.5 millimeter lead in it. So that is the Ohto gripper pen and pencil set. Pretty cool vintage find if you're in the market. Thanks for watching.